Okay, so starting off today's show, I wanted to talk a little bit about the game on Sunday. We all watched it, the big 4:30 window, Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady, the Buccaneers and the Chiefs, and the Chiefs ended up winning the game by a final score of 27-24. And I do feel like the last couple weeks on this podcast, we have spoken a lot about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I feel like the Bucs are a team that somehow, some way, always finds their way into the headlines. And I feel like a lot of people are going to talk about this game and this loss, and they're going to want to throw blame. Whose fault is it, Brady or Arians? This is the first time in his career Tom Brady has lost 3 consecutive home games. What exactly does this mean for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going forward? Could they still be successful? And I have a lot to say about this whole game and everything that went down. And my main takeaway from this game is this. The more and more I watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play, I think that it is a fair case to be made that Tom Brady and Bruce Arians just do not fit together. And the more and more I watch this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, it's becoming obvious to me that next year, I'm going to predict it right now, I don't think Bruce Arians is going to be the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm not blaming this all on him. A matter of fact, a lot of people have asked me, who's getting the blame? Who's getting the blame? I think 50% of the blame deserves to be on Tom Brady. But I also think 50% of the blame deserves to be on Bruce Arians. And I feel like both sides are responsible here. And I'll start off with Bruce Arians. I remember saying this on this podcast after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just got absolutely destroyed by the New Orleans Saints. And that was that I can now see why historically, in the past, Bruce Arians' teams, even though they're usually very good, come up short. If you remember, he used to be the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, and they were 1 win away from getting to a Super Bowl on the team in 2015 with Carson Palmer and Larry Fitz. He did a really good job with Andrew Luck in Indianapolis, leading them to the playoffs, but they were not able to win a playoff game. So Bruce Arians is a guy that really, everywhere he's been, including Pittsburgh as well in that conversation, the team wins. But what else is the pattern? The pattern is that historically, quarterbacks under Bruce Arians in their first year in the system throw a lot of interceptions. Carson Palmer, Andrew Luck, and Ben Roethlisberger, when they were in the first season under Bruce Arians' system for them, all threw a career high in interceptions. And this year, no surprise, Tom Brady is on the trajectory to also throw a career high in interceptions. And I feel like a lot of times when we're watching the NFL, one common pattern I realize a lot is that when you're successful and when you have a track record and you've won before, you're stubborn. And sometimes you're a little too hesitant to change your game plan and to adapt. And the more and more I watch this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, I think some of that could have to do with Bruce Arians and what's going on with this Tampa Bay Buccaneers system. I remember talking about it when we were discussing Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints and the Taysom Hill quarterback situation. I said, Jameis Winston, we all thought that Bruce Arians was going to be the coach that could turn him around, because historically he's been a guy that's really been able to turn quarterbacks around. And he has continued to have the same attitude of no risk it, no biscuit. I'm going to throw the ball down the field. And I think last year we really realized that with Bruce Arians, a coach that likes to take a lot of risks and likes to throw the ball down the field, Jameis Winston, that was just not really the right system for him, because Bruce Arians being too aggressive really just exposed Jameis Winston to way too many mistakes, because he was just throwing the ball too deep and way too erratically. And I feel like with Tom Brady, at this point in his career, it should be obvious to Bruce Arians that, okay, Tom Brady is going to win you games because of his efficiency and his perfection and his obsession with being perfect. And I feel like in Bruce Arians' system, that is not the proper way to use Tom Brady, especially at this point in his career when he's 43 years old, and it's as clear as day that his arm strength just isn't the same as what it used to be. Now, I understand why Bruce Arians at least tried to do it, because look at the weapons. You have Mike Evans. You have Chris Godwin. You even let Tom Brady bring in two of his homeboys, such as Gronk and Antonio Brown. And to be honest with you, a lot of people are just going to say, Zach, this is 100% on Bruce Arians. He doesn't know how to use his quarterback. The play calling isn't good, and this is 100% Bruce Arians' fault for all of the things you just mentioned. And all of the evidence that I just used to support my case is accurate. I believe, though, that is why I'm going to throw half of the blame on Bruce Arians. I do think that Tom Brady deserves some blame here, because keep in mind, when Tom Brady was in New England, everyone was saying that it was Bill Belichick's fault. Josh McDaniels, the Patriots' offensive line, the skill position players for the Patriots. So that's why Tom Brady left. All of those things just were not good enough. He then goes to Tampa Bay. He joins a team with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and they let him bring in two of his homeboys, and now it's Bruce Arians' fault. I don't think we could just sit here and keep on making excuses. In the game against the Rams, the Buccaneers got the ball left, down by 3, with about 150 to go, and I feel like historically, in the past, no matter what team Tom Brady is on, if he is in that situation and his offense is on the field, at the minimum, you're going to be getting 3 points. And if you're on defense, I feel like it would have been considered a win to only allow 3 points and go into overtime. And I remember watching that Monday Night Football game, the Buccaneers and the Rams, and when Sean McVay and the Rams ended up kicking the field goal late in the fourth quarter to eventually put them up 3, and those points eventually ended up winning the game, I remember saying to myself, wow, what are the Rams doing running the ball here on 3rd and 8? They look really excited to me to give the ball back to Tom Brady, and I feel like that may bite them. And I did think ultimately Tom Brady, even though his team had a bad night, he's Tom Brady, and he's going to somehow, some way put his team on his back, especially in the big moments like that game on Monday Night Football against the Rams, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to do that. Not only was he not able to lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into the end zone, but he threw an interception, and the interception wasn't even close. And I remember saying to myself, wow, this could be a sign that it is really coming to an end for Tom Brady in his career. We all know that Father Time is undefeated. And it's funny because last year, there were times when I watched the New England Patriots, and I said to myself, even though the weapons and the offensive line were really not ideal last year, there were times when I would watch that team and say, wow, Tom Brady looks done. And to be honest, even though I really liked the Buccaneers going into the season, I predicted them to win the NFC South, I did think that Arians and Brady and the combination of their two football IQs and the way they play their styles, I was curious to see if it was really going to be able to work in Tampa Bay, but I did think that deep down they were going to be able to work it out. When Bruce Arians signed up to bring Tom Brady, the GOAT, into Tampa Bay, I do think he was kind of willing to say, all right, we'll kind of just meet in the middle. We'll use half of my system. We'll use half of your system. We'll throw some deep balls. We'll throw some short passes. And I feel like if you're Bruce Arians, it should be more obvious now than ever before that Tom Brady, at this point in his career, is going to win you games because of efficiency and because of his football IQ. And that's why he was so good in New England. Bill Belichick's system really allowed him to excel and gain confidence through efficiency by hitting running backs with the easy pass, by hitting Julian Edelman, by hitting Gronk, and just winning games based on attention to detail and efficiency. When you watched the New England Patriots with Tom Brady, it was very rare that they were out here just blowing out opponents. What made Tom Brady great is that when the game was close in the last 2 minutes and you need someone to make a play, he was always able to get the job done. And I feel like at this point in his career, we saw it during that Monday Night Football game against the Rams. We saw it on Sunday at times against the Kansas City Chiefs, that Tom Brady is just not, he wasn't even the best quarterback on the field on Sunday against Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I know it's easy to say that because it's Mahomes and the Chiefs, but that was the first time, and this was another signal that when I was watching the game on Sunday, I really did say to myself, wow, this could be the first time ever since I started watching football where I'm sitting here watching an NFL game with Tom Brady under center, and I kind of feel hopeless. Patrick Mahomes is clearly the better quarterback. He's hitting Tyreek Hill for 150 yards in the first quarter. It just wasn't fair. And I do feel like also, by the way, even though I'm just sitting out here totally trashing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and saying, all this blame should be going around, they're in really big trouble. I totally understand that. But at the same time, I will give them some credit for fighting. I feel like in this situation, given the circumstances with this loss falling to 7-5, the Buccaneers could have easily ran off their home field. And there's not a lot of things that are more embarrassing than that. And when you look at the scoreboard, it's only going to say 27-24. And if Patrick Mahomes doesn't come out here and make some absolutely ridiculous plays, then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers easily could have had a chance to win that game. And I feel like if you're a Buccaneer fan, there may be two ways where you could look at it. But at the same time, even though the scoreboard was close and in the end the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could have easily had a chance to win that game, it seemed like to me the Chiefs were just on a different level. And we've seen so far the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go out there on the football field, and they've had their moments, but their defense has been really inconsistent as of late. And at the same time, I'm just not sure that right now, when I watch the Buccaneers, that this Bruce Arians, Tom Brady marriage is going to work. And we've seen so far since Brady has gone to Tampa Bay, and not surprisingly, by the way, he's gotten the LeBron treatment. The Buccaneers let him bring in Antonio Brown. The Buccaneers let him bring in Gronk. And I feel like even though Bruce Arians is a winner, if the Buccaneers just realize, hey, the Brady-Arians marriage isn't working out, they're going to side with the GOAT, let Bruce Arians go, and bring in a new head coach. Who is that head coach going to be? I'm not exactly sure, but the more and more I watch the Buccaneers right now, they are looking like a team that could win one playoff game maximum. And that is a problem if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, because when you signed up for this experience this year, it was Super Bowl or bust. And right now, it's been just very disappointing if you're a Buc fan. Do I think they could fix it? Maybe. The talent's still there. But to be honest, right now, I don't trust Bruce Arians as a head coach, especially because the more and more I watch this team play, the system of style with Arians and the no risk it, no biscuit, throw it deep system with the Tom Brady and his current skill set. Let's face facts. Tom Brady, with his current skill set, he can't really throw a deep ball more than 20 yards. And the problem is with the weapons on this team, they are not being executed and used at their full strength, because Mike Evans, he's a guy that could beat you deep. Same with Antonio Brown. And I do feel like right now we could see that Tom Brady, he knows deep down that Bruce Arians is not doing a very good job. And I think there's a possibility that Brady could have just said, screw it, I'm going to put my footprints on this offense. And maybe that's why Tampa Bay is struggling. Maybe it's just Tom Brady struggling getting used to the new system. We don't exactly know what exactly the problem is, but at the same time, I do think there's a legitimate reason to spread the blame 50-50 on Brady and Arians, and I do believe in order for Tampa Bay to succeed, both sides need to be better.